And I recognize the fact that it is the people that can criticize the government, because we're a part of the government. The government cannot criticize the people. Also, I recognize the fact that it is the people that can dissolve the government. The government cannot dissolve the people. And on that basis, I feel we owe the Nigerian public an explanation, simply in this regard. This Senate, for the record, was never at any point between August 2023, when distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan alleged to have been sexually harassed by the President of the Senate. Between that August 2023 up until the day that we announced on this floor that we were referring the petition brought by distinguished Senator Yemi Adaramodi with respect to Senator Natasha's flagrant disobedience to the rules and regulations of this House, of this Senate, was referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions. In other words, none of us was ever told about any, sexual harassment situation. I want that to be clear. Secondly, I also want to make it clear to the public that the issue before us, as of the time we refer this matter to the Ethics and Privileges Committee, had nothing to do with sexual harassment. And some of the critics who have said this Senate allowed Senator Godswill Akpabio, the President of the Senate, to be a judge in his own cause and to preside over his own matter, need to be told, with all due respect, that the matter before us and on which Senator Godswill Akpabio presided over as the President of the Senate had to do with the motion that was referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition. While we appreciate the concern of the public on this matter, I just want to emphasize that it is important that we also seek the understanding of the general public, that we were elected to serve the people. And we are guided, whatever we do in this chamber, we are guided by rules. And these our rules are also drawn pursuant to the Constitution of our country. So it's not a rule of men, it's a rule of law. It's not about some men trying to gang up against a woman or anybody. It's about ensuring that our rules are respected. That is the only way we can guarantee peace, we can guarantee law and order. That is the only way we can have an atmosphere in which we'll be able to do our job and serve the Nigerian people. Again, some of the critics have also said we have no right to even suspend a member of this parliament or this Senate. Again, I will leave that within the context of jurisprudence, as the courts will always speak to that. But it is very clear on our rules as to how far we can go. And we are not of the opinion that we are in breach of either the Constitution or any of our rules. Again, Section 60 of the Nigerian Constitution confers on this Parliament the constitutional right to regulate its own procedure. And Section 1, subsection B of our rules book also makes it clear by reiterating that constitutional authority granted to us by Section 60 of our rule, of the Constitution, giving us the right to regulate our procedure. And suspension, as far as we are concerned, is the only alternative to the kind of anarchy that the nation witnessed in the past, where members of parliament had reasons to shout, to get physically engaged with each other, to engage in acts of violence, to tear each other's clothes, and, do all manners of things. We are moving, thank God that we are moved away from that. It also shows that democracy is growing, not sent as it might appear to be. And if there are people who still have issues with whether or not we can even suspend an erring legislator who have refused or who is refusing to work within the rules, I believe, again, like I said, is for the court to continue to adjudicate, on that, unless the Constitution is amended, taking away the authority for us to regulate our own procedure. And then, of course, with respect to the question of whether or not we are to, follow our rules, let me emphasize that the seventh schedule to our Constitution, the seventh schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, is clear, and it contains the oath of office that we are all made to take before we assume office as senators. And in that oath, we all swore that we will uphold this Constitution, that we will make laws for the good governance of this country, and that we would also, in every step that we take, obey the rules and regulations of this Senate. We swore to that oath. And it is for this Senate as an institution to ensure that everybody abides by that oath. And again, outside of Nigeria, or outside of this Senate, when it comes to our inter-parliamentary engagement, every one of those organizations, from Inter-Parliamentary Union to Commonwealth Parliament to African Union Parliament to ECOWAS Parliament, everyone is, run on the basis of rules and regulations, drawn from the protocols establishing those organizations. And that was why the Inter-Parliamentary Union president, 2 days ago, after listening to our colleague, the single Senator Natasha, had to also go by their rule. One, that the issue that she raised was outside of the agenda of the meeting. Number two, having heard her, it will also be important to listen to the other side, because they are all guided by rules. And also, let me emphasize that Section 1, Sub 1 of the law establishing the Inter-Parliamentary Union itself makes it clear that membership of IPU shall be on the basis of national parliamentary organization. In other words, there are no individual members. It is parliaments of sovereign nations that are members of IPU. And those who attend those meetings on behalf of their parliament are designated delegates. So if for any reason, one of our colleagues, who was not even supposed, to be there, if she were to have gone by the rule, of this Senate and the decision of this Senate, found her way to the place, sat on the seat meant for Nigeria, and spoke for herself rather than for Nigeria, that's another issue altogether. But let me say that as a Senate, we will not do anything whatsoever to stand on the way of justice. We will not do anything whatsoever to prevent any kind of investigation that the court, or any organization might choose to do with respect to her allegation. But what is important for us, and the point we are trying to also put across to the public, is the fact that it was never an issue before us that any one of our female legislators in this chamber was sexually harassed. And we hold on to that point. And as far as we are concerned, what is left for us is to ensure that we put the events of the last 2 weeks, in abeyance. We need to concentrate. There is work to be done. And we need to concentrate on our mandate, regardless of what anybody might say, Mr. President. We are proud of our modest achievements in the last 1.5 years in this Senate. We have done everything possible to legislate for the good governance of this country. We have done everything possible to work with the other arms of government to ensure that the ongoing judicial reforms have legal expression through our legislative action. We have worked with the executive arm of government to ensure that bringing this economy back on track found expression in our work in this hallowed chamber through legislative work, and legislative action that we're taking. We have done everything possible, recognizing the fact that today we have an administration that inherited an economy that was almost flat on the floor, and that we also are working with an administration, or as part of an administration, that took over an economy and a nation that had actually been totally shut down from pandemic, a challenge less than 5 years ago. And we had to start all over again. We are working as a parliament to help manage an economy that had gone in and out of recession at various times in the last 5 years. We are working with an administration ensuring that every day when we discuss about insecurity here, when we observe that 1 minute of silence for those who have lost their lives, we are taking it beyond that point to ensure that through the laws we make, through the oversight actions that we engage in, through our engagement with the executive arm of government, through our engagement with the security chiefs, we do a lot that cannot even be said on the face of the camera to ensure that Nigeria becomes a better place for people to live. Nigeria is making progress. It is not yet Uhuru. We still have a lot of challenge to deal with. But we have done all we can, given the limitations, to ensure that we are part of the progress that is being made in this country on a daily basis. And it is important that we do not allow anything to distract us any further. Because like I said, we have work to do. We are done with passing the year 2025 appropriation bill. It has been signed to law. We are busy trying to also pass the tax reform bills. The last 2 weeks, for instance, members of our Committee on Finance have been engaged with different stakeholders through different, programs, including retreat, trying to get the bills ready for us. And we need to be able to concentrate on all of these things. And finally, again, let me just call on members of the Nigerian public, especially members of the civil society organizations, members of the media, and all those who have spoken on the events of the last 2 weeks. We have heard you so loud and so clear. And be rest assured that we will not do anything that will make Nigeria any worse than you may think she is right now. We have hope in this country, and we know that things will get better, things are getting better, and we'll continue to work, in overriding public interests to ensure that we move this country forward. We have heard you loud and clear. but we need to concentrate on our work. So if we do not debate this matter any longer, if we do not appear on media houses to discuss this matter, if we choose to just be silent on this matter and let, the court do their job and let, things just take their natural course, know that it is a deliberate decision on our part, it is intentional, and we are doing this in order that we do not get distracted. And we thank all those who have expressed concern, especially in the civil society. But in thanking you, we also beg you, in overriding public interest, that you please be objective in your analysis and that you also save energy for those genuine victims of sexual harassment who will also need your time and attention. Mr. President, I thank you so much. And in rounding up, I just want to say that it is the candid opinion of this leadership in consultation with distinguished senators here that we do not only stand united around our mandate, but that we also communicate this clearly to members of the Nigerian public, by moving a vote of confidence in the Senator Godswill Akpabio leadership of this Senate, and in also thanking the entire senators for the ways they have handled this matter. I thank you, and I so move.
Having listened very carefully to the presentation of a very able, dynamic, and erudite Senate leader, I'm convinced to want to support unequivocally the motion moved by the Senate leader. Having explained to the whole world that the deliberation of this Senate was based on the matter that happened in this chamber on the 5th of February, and that we are guided by our rules, I therefore moved that I second the motion on vote of confidence on the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, of the capacity and capability, because it's leading us well. I so second.
The leader has moved a motion and seconded by the minority leader. I will put that to vote because what the leader did was to give an account of what happened in the past 2 weeks and to draw the attention of the entire Senate that what is before us is a need to partner with the President to deal with what we've been doing in order to bring prosperity to our nation. That we should pull any other thing aside and get focused so that we'll do the best in partnership with the President in bringing prosperity to our country. That there's no point talking about an issue that has been dealt with by the Senate. It has been dealt with, it's been lying with our system, and that we should do away with that. Since the matter is before the court of law, we shall allow the court to decide and therefore not to get distracted. This matter is before the court of law, and we shall allow the court to deal with the matter. In fact, Section 40 of our rule is clear about that. If a matter is before the court of law, we shall allow the court to take care of it. The judiciary now to play its role so that whatever comes out of it is what we are going to work on. So in this respect, I want to put the motion to vote. Those in favor of the motion moved by the Senate leader and seconded by the minority leader, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.